Hey guys, this is Leather Leone of Chastain, and you're experiencing Poppitt's Corner. Love and Dio. Metal!
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Poppitt's Corner, episode 115, and I am having a legend in the presence, I guess, would not, you can't put it into words, but I am super excited, super honored. The one and only Doro Pesch is joining me on today's episode. Doro, how you doing today?
Hey, very good. Hi, everybody. Yeah, great. I just had my first festival, like the real big festival this weekend. On Sunday, we played in Belgium, a great festival, Alcatraz Festival. So I just came back from Belgium, and yeah, and everybody was so happy. It was so exciting. The fans were on fire. Everybody was headbanging, singing along, and yeah, we couldn't have asked for more. So yeah, so spirits are high and up.
Absolutely. Now, how different was it, say, from the drive-in concert that you guys performed last year?
Oh, actually, yeah, I did a lot of like special stuff, drive-in concerts, beach chair, open airs, which we did this year. Actually, you know what? It was great. It's 10 times more work to reach people and to get them excited. But you know, sometimes it's hard to. It's good to work harder because you know it keeps you on your feet. And now I was totally up and ready for this festival, so I was in good shape. And yeah, and it was fun, I must say. Even the drive-in, I loved it. People were shaking their cars while headbanging, so you almost have seen cars flying, and you know, and they were honking the horns. It was so loud. I think that was probably the last drive-ins they were allowed to do in certain cities because it was so, you know, it was so crazy and loud, but it was safe. And so I thought that was great, and everybody had a great time. Yeah, I know
Sure.
not everybody's a fan of that, but I would do it over and over again. Absolutely.
What was it? I mean, was it kind of cool though to see an actual audience though instead of cars in the field per se, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now in Belgium, I think they had a 3 day festival. It was 12,000 people each day, and everybody had either to be vaccinated or tested, and so no mass, and everybody was like doing, you know, the wall of death, and you know, and like everything was happening. It was great. It seemed like the good old 80s. Actually, it was so heavy, so good, so many great bands, and yeah, the fans were totally on fire. Like, yeah.
Now, were you performing because we're going to get to the Triumph and Agony live release. I'm just kind of curious, were you performing this same set list at the festival that you just recently played?
Um, Usually when we play our own show, it's always like 2 hours long, sometimes 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours. So I play much longer, and I play yeah, the whole repertoire, or like all the biggest songs. And we play like songs like Love Me in Black, and you know, Soldier of Metal, and some soulful stuff. And on this festival, I thought I keep it heavy. So we played only one ballad, and that was the song For Immer. It was actually off the Triumph and Agony album. And yeah, and it was super heavy, like really old school. And, you know, all these anthems, of course, All We Are, and Burning the Witches, and Hellbound, and, you know, all that good stuff, all that fun stuff. But on our own show, I play, yeah, longer and much more variety. But yeah, but then there are only our diehard fans there, so they know every song. They would love to hear it. And in a festival where you just have 1 hour, you know, you keep it really tight, and you know, all killers, no fillers, but usually the heavier set.
Interesting. So let's go to the Triumph and Agony live release, if you don't mind. And I'm kind of curious, why was Sweden Rock the place to kind of record this at? Was this a conscious decision for you and the rest of the guys in the band?
No, we didn't even plan on anything. And we recorded a couple of times in Spain, Sweden Rock, Norway Rock, Grass Pop, and we did a great Spain tour and America tour where we haven't recorded, like, you know, like no cameras. But when I went through all the material, man, Sweden Rock had like so much magic. And it was the very first time that we did it, the first time that we played this album in its entirety. And there's something to be said about the first time, sometimes first time has so much magic. And fans were great, it looked great. They had great camera. The microphones were great on each instrument. It was really, it was the best equipment, and you can tell, you can see it. And I think it sounds great. And we tweaked it, of course, we mixed it, and but when I thought, okay, we want to do a Blu-ray, then Sweden Rock was the place.
Now, you mentioned the production of this. I kind of want to touch upon this, if you don't mind. I'm kind of, because there's all this notion of truly live records, and to me, this sounds like a truly kind of live record. And I'm just kind of curious how much post-production came into play, re-recordings. Was there any in this, or was it just all you guys just had a good signal going and you were able to mix it just 100% live?
Actually, I think, when you play live, it's great. But then when you listen back to it, there was always a cable which was, making some noise, or, there's a feedback, or we had 3 guitar players. So, 3 players, like, soloing and shredding. So we had to redo a couple of things, but not much. And sometimes when I'm so excited, I make up new lyrics, because when I forget a sentence, and I just make them up. So we tweaked it a little bit, but not too much, but just to make it really nice and perfect. And
Absolutely. Now I kind of want to go to the album and just ask about the use of the Warlock logo, because I know there's been some legalities regarding that whole thing, and I'm super glad to see the Warlock logo actually presented on a Doro Pesch album. Can you walk me through any of the whole process to that?
Yes, actually, yeah. It took me 20 years, but now I got the rights back to the name Warlock and the logo, and then I'm allowed to use it. So I thought, I definitely want to use it. And and the Triumph and Agony album, that was the last official Warlock album. I never planned on making a solo career. It was just because somebody took the name away, and we went to we had many lawsuits and stuff, but it took me 20 years. So I thought, I definitely want to use the Warlock logo. I think there are many fans of the visuals, and I wanted to do the album cover like a combination between great live shots and, of course, the iconic, the Triumph and Agony original. Like, I guess you guys know it. That's the original. And I thought it was such an, almost iconic album cover. And, and the Warlock looked great. The logo looked great. So the new Triumph and Agony live is a combination of live shots and the beautiful work of, his name is Jeffrey Gillespie. He's a great, great artist. And I always use him. On the last album, that was called Forever Boris, Forever United, he was painting the whole thing too, and he's amazing. So I stick with good people. If if they are into it, then I love it. And so that was the first album cover he ever did for us, and and I was blown away when I first saw it. I thought, oh man, it's so cool.
Now, will you be using the Warlock logo kind of going forward on releases, or kind of?
We did a couple of times. We did, or on the backdrops, or sometimes we called it Doro Pesch of Warlock, or sometimes Doro Pesch, the voice of Warlock. So there were all kinds of things, and when it calls for a metal record, then I think the Warlock logo is great. And but now 20 years later, some of the younger metalheads, they don't know the history, they don't know so much about the 80s. So it will be, we probably will always have a combination, I would say.
Okay, and going off at this point is Triumph and Agony was released kind of right before the Berlin Wall kind of came down as well. And I don't mean to bring up old memories or whatever, but I'm just kind of curious, going off of, once the Berlin Wall fell, what opportunities did that present to you specifically, in terms of touring or business, or how that whole entity kind of changed in the music business?
Yeah, actually, I have to tell you a little story. it was 1989, and I was a big Kiss fan. I'm still a big Kiss fan. And Gene Simmons, he produced one of our records, and it was 1989. And I was singing something. We recorded it in LA in the Fortress studio, where Kiss recorded Hot and Shade. And a great engineer Tommy Thayer was there. He was actually the co-producer. And I was singing something, and then Gene Simmons said, "Hey, Doro, you got to come, into the lobby. There's something on TV that might be interesting." And I said, "No, Gene, I'm just having too much fun. I'm just laying down this vocal, and I think the song sounds great." He said, "No, I think it's really important. You should check it out." And I went into the lobby, looked at the TV, hanging out with Gene, and we saw that the wall came down, and it was so unbelievable. I had no idea, because I was so, involved in making this record, and then sometimes, you don't get to see the news and stuff. So I was totally shocked, surprised, and of course very happy. That was the first time that something, came together without a war, without fighting. It was great. And then that was the first time that I could play in the former East German side, I think in 1991. So before it was not possible. And ever since I could tour all over, like even Eastern Europe, which that was impossible in the 80s. But so the metal world just got, bigger, and that was great. And
Absolutely, and it made you obviously have more fans in the East, Germany as well. So I'm just again, now let's go to your vocals per se, and they've held up extremely well for, doing it for 40 years at this point. And I'm just kind of curious for you specifically, because there's not many from, that whole 80s period that kind of their vocals have held up so well. I'm just kind of curious what you equivalate that to.
It just comes out when I see the fans. Then it just comes out, and I can, sing 10 times better and louder than in a studio situation. So to me, I just need the fans, and and live is always, that's my forte. I love it the most. And and the voice was always there, even when I'm sick as a dog. Voice is always there. And so I don't do much to, I don't do any exercises, nothing. I just need to hop on stage, watch the fans, and then it's there. And
Interesting. I mean, so all the adrenaline kind of just helps you kind of have. Again, a lot of people from your specific time period, just that they haven't held up. And so listening to the Triumph and Agony live release, I was very kind of blown away by that. That was the one aspect I was like,
cool.
wow, her voice is held up extremely well, and
It makes me happy.
and the album has kind of held up extremely well. Now, what do you kind of equivalate that to? Because I know, the songs, like I said, they're very kind of rock and roll based, but they still have that hard edge metal that just, I don't know, it grabs me as a listener. I'm just kind of curious what Triumph and Agony does for you specifically as the artist.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite records. I thought every song was like, on a high level, had great ideas. There were sometimes some very interesting ideas. For example, Metal Tango. It was heavy metal guitars over a tango rhythm. Ja, für immer was the first song in 3 languages, in English, German, and Spanish. And then, that was actually our big breakthrough. Like that was our first single, and we did a great video in LA. A great video producer. He did all the big metal bands, and it was like the movie scene couldn't be bigger. And I thought, wow, this is like, man, this could go somewhere. And then MTV picked it up and played on Headbangers Ball and on heavy rotation. And then we suddenly had a really nice hit, and we could go all over the world and and play bigger venues. And we hopped on tour in Europe after the Triumph and Agony release with the legendary Ronnie James Dio, which was my favorite singer, my main inspiration. So that was unbelievable. And in America we did many club tours, and then we hopped on tour with Megadeth and Sanctuary. And it got so big. We didn't expect it, but suddenly everything everything came together, and probably we were lucky as well, but great people, came into the picture, and we had suddenly like lots of fans worldwide. But the 3 albums before, it was Burning the Witches, Hellbound, and True Steel. I guess everything was like, building up to having Triumph and Agony. And I still have the best memories. Like for me, 87, 88, oh, that was so awesome. It was so great when metal was so huge. And, and I still like all these old school stuff. That's the reason the new Triumph and Agony Live is coming out as vinyl, marbled vinyl, and even the cassettes are coming out, and then there's some little figurines, the Warlock holding me in his arms, and so all kinds of stuff what I used to love. And I believe there are many vinyl collectors out there who would like it, and it's something you can look at, and it's different from just streaming, and you have something what is really valuable. And
Absolutely. And I think going off of your point, I think specifically us kind of metalheads like the physical product. It's still important to us. We connect with it even further. Now going for you, can you kind of, what does physical media, I guess, mean for an artist such as yourself still? Do you still enjoy getting new records or
yes, I'm still a big vinyl collector. And I had actually 3 times in my life, I had 2 times in New York, a hurricane destroyed 2 times the whole apartment, so all the records are gone. And now in Germany, there was a big flood going on a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you've seen it in the news. Unbelievable. So I lost another record collection, and I have to get it all again, buy it. There were many great things, or special bootlegs. Sometimes they're so, I know bootlegs is not great for the artist, but sometimes they're so well done. And I like to collect everything. So I have to get it somehow. But we have so many diehard fans and collectors, so I'm sure they will share some stuff. But I still, I love vinyl. And I found some little cassettes from the 80s, and I thought, I would love to have a cassette of the Triumph and Agony Live. And it was hard to find like a factory who would do it, and but it's just maybe to put it somewhere, somewhere, you don't even. I know many people don't have a cassette player anymore, but something cute to have.
And let's go off of this point real quick too. You mentioned vinyl, and I know vinyl factors are really backed up right now. I mean, to the point of like 6 months to a year. And for you specifically, how long in the making was the Triumph and Agony live record in the works with this?
Yeah, it was like 6, 7 months, and I wanted to have the biggest album cover in the world again. And we had like in 87, I don't know if you guys remember this one, that was the one of the biggest. It went to the Guinness Book of World Records, and here in the stomach you could take out the picture disc. So I thought I would love to have something like this again. And now it's life size, and there's a marbled vinyl in the back. And at first I want to have a picture disc as well, but that was impossible because the factory people, they said, you need to wait a year. So I thought, okay, let's make it special. And marbled is nice too. I never had that before. So, but I always like to have something special. And I formed my own record label to have the opportunity to do special things. Sometimes, when you're at a bigger record company, sometimes they said, oh, we don't do any box sets anymore, or no vinyl, or no singles anymore. And I like that stuff. So I thought I formed my own label, and then I can do, special things. But picture this, that will take a little while. So that was impossible. They're so cramped with work. Yeah.
Totally. Now, I got to ask you this too. When it comes to this live record, the beauty part about this whole thing is that a lot of people re-record albums because to own their masters back or whatever, but this is kind of like the best of both worlds because it still sounds like Triumph and Agony did back in 1987. Like I said, with the killer guitars, your vocals, the drum, like the whole production of it still is reminiscent of that. And so going off of this, the song placement, I got to ask how you guys chose just the song placement and whatnot, and why not do it from start to finish how it was on the original Triumph and Agony record?
Triumph and Agony original started with All We Are, and that's impossible, because All We Are is usually the last song in our set list, and then we get, many encores. Sometimes we played All We Are twice, because I always ask the fans, what do you guys want to hear in the encores? And then it was All We Are again. So starting with All We Are, that wouldn't be so good, Where do you go from there? So we thought we build it up, and then I thought, starting with Touch of Evil is pretty nice. It's pretty mysterious and stuff, really heavy. And then I was making the set list. I just went by feeling, by gut feeling. And when we played it live, we thought, that sounds good, sounds really good. And All We Are is the last song, and Für immer is in the middle. Für immer is another song which people love to sing along, and it's really, it's really heartfelt. So in the middle, having a little breather, and then, and just having pure, feeling. And sometimes people are crying because they're so touched by it, they don't even notice it, but I see it from the stage. So in the middle, a little Für immer is great. So just like, and we played so many times the Triumph and Agony song, so I know which songs work great in the middle or in the end. Usually we started with I Rule the Ruins, and that's a little bit, in the front. And East Meets West, that's another song. That was actually the first song we wrote for the Triumph and Agony album back then. And I always hop on my guitar player's shoulders. Tommy Bowen is his name. And, he was the guitar player of 87's Triumph and Agony. And, we played together again and did all these festivals and toured in Spain, America, and I always hopped on his shoulders when it's possible. Sometimes the ceiling is so low, and then the tour manager said, no, not today, but usually, so East Meets West is, usually the third song, but but it was the first time that we played all the songs. So sometimes, actually, I think we never ever played Make Time for Love live, and Kiss of Death. I think that was just that was brand new to us, and it felt great because you never know if a song really, sometimes the record production sounds great, but then live it might not feel so good. But these songs sounded nice live, and it was such a joy to do them, and and I think the live record, I think it sounds even better because of the fans, of the atmosphere. It's the real deal. I love playing live, and I think nothing can beat it. Like, I think no studio record ever had like this energy and power, and so I really love live stuff. Even more.
Now, how involved were you with putting together like the physical product, like the booklet and where things were placed on the actual record?
Everything. Actually, I think of everything, and then I try to find good people who are helping me, like good engineer, good studio, good graphic artist, and so then we do everything together. All the experts need to come in, but usually I think it out, and then and I'm super happy when it turns out great. Sometimes you have maybe a different idea, and for example, when we wrote our last song, Für immer, the record was done, and I was sitting with the producer. His name was Joey Bannon, and we were kind of sad that everything was done. It can feel so empty when a tour is over or a record production's done. And then we said, hey, shall we write one more song? And Joey said, what would you like to write? And I said, I would like to have the most aggressive, brutal, like a heavy song in the world, fast and stuff. And then out came this beautiful, soulful ballad, Für immer. So sometimes, you think of something, and then, it takes you somewhere else. It's always an adventure, and it's really exciting. And then I loved it so much. And
absolutely. Now, before we give out all the links, I just have one more question: is will you be taking the Triumph and Agony live on the road for like an entire tour, where you'll play it from top to bottom, just like how it is on this live album?
Yeah, we would love to. Yeah, I did it before in the States. We played, I think, a couple of shows, and like New York and LA and some and the Spain tour. But I would love to do that again, in bigger places and yeah, worldwide. Yeah, and it's coming out in September 24th. So I would see if the people really would love that, and we will do it. And next year we will get ready to do it and play all the festivals with it. And so I would love that. Yeah, yeah. But first, the people need to hear it, and yeah, and when they love it, that's like, the fans. That's my most important thing in life. So if they would love that, I'm there, ready to roll.
Now, can we be expecting a new studio record, hopefully relatively soon?
Yes, yeah, in 1 year, actually maybe even sooner. I have 6 songs already ready. I think they're great, like an anthem, 2 fast songs, 2 like mid-tempo, really soulful songs, and yeah. So next year, and I'm excited about that too, because I got so inspired by the Triumph and Agony live thing when we were mixing, and I thought, yeah, man, I definitely want to, keep it heavy, some nice metal tunes. And when I started out, it was even some speed metal influences. So there will be some really nice and fast, heavy songs, and the whole repertoire between anthems and and some really nice melodic, soulful songs, and like deep and something what empowers people, what gives out good energy, and what means a lot. So
Sure. And I have to ask you this too, because the last time I saw you specifically was in right here in Orange County, California, with Metal Church. I know with the sad passing of Mike Howe, I'm just
oh
kind of
my
curious,
yeah.
you know, with what can you give me a memory from that specific tour for us?
Yeah, actually, it was a great tour. It was awesome. We all got along great. We became great friends. The guys in the band of Melcher, they were awesome, and it was great. And we have the same manager. His name is Jeff Keller, and I was always asking Jeff, "Hey, shall we do it again?" And he said, "Yeah, I will check. I don't know what the guys are up to, and I would have loved to do it again, another tour. It really worked well. All the fans, it was cool. It was a great package, and the nicest memory was like sometimes I was singing with Mike Howe, and we were doing Breaking the Law, because I was a big Priest fan, and I recorded one time Breaking the Law to say thank you to Priest that they took us out on the road. It was 86, was my first big tour, and it was a dream come true too. So Mike joined me, and we were always singing Breaking the Law, and the fans were singing along. So that was my best memory. And I'm so sad. I thought he was such a killer guy, so nice, such a sweetheart, so soulful, so very sensitive, very good heart. And we miss him so much. And
Absolutely.
I hope he's in a better place. I hope we will all meet again eventually. But it made me so sad. And it was an awesome tour. Everybody who was there probably would agree. And
And both bands were on fire that night too, so that
he liked it
didn't
too,
hurt. So
Good.
now, where can people find the Triumph and Agony live release? I know it's coming out September 24th via Rare Diamond Productions. Where can people find, how can people get a hold of the Triumph and Agony release, the live release?
That's a good question. I hope you can get it in all the record stores. I hope there are, some record stores left, who will carry it. And of course, online, I guess Amazon and all, your favorite places to order stuff. But I love record stores, so I would recommend, support the record stores. And I guess in the heavy metal section. So I hope all over. And but I have to find out. It's thank you for asking me. I will check with the people who are responsible.
Sure. Well, Miss Doro, thank you very much again for giving me a couple minutes of your time and helping me promote the Triumph and Agony live release. Highly recommended. It sounds fucking awesome, if you don't mind me saying. So,
Oh, thank
really
you.
can't highly recommend it if you're a fan of the Triumph and Agony. original release, this shouldn't come as no surprise. This is just as killer. So, Miss Doro, thank you very much again for giving me a couple of your time.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope I see you live again. And we will have fun. And there is a DVD and a Blu-ray in the package as well, so you have the visuals as well. If you prefer to watch it, and yeah, so
Absolutely. Well, another edition of Poppitt's Corner, guys. I'm out of here. Cheers.
just metal.